markings of the Royal Engineers in the 8th Army 10 Corps out in North Africa, where my great uncle served. So it's in his regiment's markings.
Thank you very much. So there you have one of the most desirable, really, British vehicles of this type. There are about 50 of them left in captivity, we think, but they almost never come up for sale. They always get inherited. If you want one, you've got to restore one, really. Now I'm going to hand this one over to Andy, because he knows all about this.
Right, so
it's a bit out of my period.
So this is the current American Army vehicle of choice. They are thinking about phasing these out and moving to a different type of vehicle. But this is the Hummer, the Humvee. So you would have seen this on the news, lots and lots and lots over the recent conflicts that have been out and about. Now they have a nice 5-litre V8 diesel engine. It's quite nice, but it's a very large vehicle that only really sits 4 people. But this one's set up as military police sort of style. Oh, aren't they noisy? How rude. Let's have that other Hummer in. Hold that one back, and I'll grab this other Hummer. So if the troops start causing trouble, they'll go and sort them out. Now, moving up to more battle ready, so these will be the front line Hummers. So obviously in the early days of the Iraq and Afghanistan conflict, basically the standard Hummer like this, they'd be standing out the top with not a lot of protection. Ooh. But that hurt. So what they started to do is, they started to up-arm them a little bit. It's very, very thin armour, it's not really going to stop a lot, but the turret on the top gave the gunners on the top a little bit more protection. So this one's actually got a grenade launcher in the top, and you can see it's got little wing mirrors on it as well, so you can actually see behind it. Now his head's still quite exposed, but if you ask any infants here, they need to see what's going on. So hiding behind little slits of glass isn't any good for them. The bog standard sort of lightly armoured one with a turret on the top, because the doors on these aren't armoured, but the ones you can see that are, they've got very, very thick windows, very, very heavy doors. But the same engine, same chassis, so so that's the American Humvee. I do like these quite a lot, but there you go. Big bumper on the front with the turret. Oh. Right.
I think we need to stop things a bit and pick some mess up.
So, hang on. I see an eBay opportunity here. I really, really do.
You've got 10 minutes and this is on eBay.
What have we got? So, we've got one of them, right? So that'll be on eBay later.
I'll give you 10 bob for it.
Oh look! Oh, we've got bungees. We've got tent pegs. Oh, a little bit of tape. Some more cable ties. We've got all sorts here. Bin bag. You want to buy a bin bag? Right, I'll leave that to you, Brian. Anyway, so naughty, naughty. That's what you get when you drive too fast. It's good fun for us, but not for them. So, done the Hummers. You can just hear that V8 diesel roar. There you go. Now this particular one's actually got a 5th wheel coupling in the back, which is probably for his caravan.
Yeah. Don't pull anything, those things.
Yeah,
it's the same engine as the Blazer.
So
it's a Land Rover.
Yeah, we do have the Snatch Land Rover. While they're, tidying up after all the mess.
Picking up the mess.
The embarrassing thing is, we know these people. So, Snatch Land Rover. Most of them were V8s. I think this one, by the sound of it, is a V8. Or is it a diesel? Anyway, so give us a blip on the throttle. Give us a blip on the throttle. Yeah, that's a V8. Yes. So early Snatches were all V8s. So they went out to the Gulf, to Iraq, and basically they didn't perform very, very well. They were overheating. There was no air conditioning inside for the troops, so it was horrendously hot inside. And they just didn't work. So what they all came back to Britain. They got refitted with diesel engines, most of them. They upgraded the clutch, upgraded the brakes, and then they put air conditioning in for the troops. Now they weren't very popular with the troops out in Iraq and Afghanistan because the vision wasn't enough. Only 1 or 2 guys could see what was going on, apart from the driver and the passenger. But that's when they started to develop the Jackal and all that sort of vehicles that you see today going around conflict zones. So, but yeah, very, very nice indeed. Right, so done a let's have the...
Nice Bedford. That works.
There were these very old Bedford MJs rolling around because the army still had a lot of them because they were just starting to bring in the Leyland DAF. So this is diesel engine. I'm just going to confirm whether it's an MJ or an MK.
Okay.
So you've got turbo. Yeah, still doesn't make a lot of difference. No.
But they were a pretty good truck.
They were a very good truck. The bad thing about these trucks is they didn't have a tilt cab. They also came fitted with winches. But this one looks like, yeah, it's just a canvas top and carrying lots and lots of water because it was quite hot where these guys were going. But this was the backbone of the British Army for many, many, many years. It really was, before the Leyland DAF started to come in, and now they're replacing them with their MAN trucks.
Little word to the wise, never ever buy a Bedford that type of cab. Then you've got to take the rear body off before you can take the cab off, before you can get to the engine. That's really good fun.
Right, so, what have we got next? Let's have the Shadow. So, here we go. This vehicle, I'll say it's one of a kind, there's only 3 ever built. So this was designed on a Humvee chassis by Alvis Group for deployments to every single place they could possibly imagine, but not just for the military, it was for the government as well. So they'd use it for border controls, maybe in America or Canada or anywhere they wanted border controls. So they beefed up the engine and you can see the configuration. You've got a 50 cal on the top. Is that a Gympie or an M60? It's a Gympie, GPMG, general purpose machine gun on the side. So this would be a reconnaissance vehicle probably, wouldn't be a patrol vehicle, but like I said, there's only 3 of these out, that's it, no more, because it was a prototype. It was let's have a look, see how much we can beef up the Humvee, and they actually had to play with it quite a lot just to get it on the low loader with the other vehicles. But I like it, it's a real Gucci bit of kit. So, moving on. So the CVRTs. So, we have a Scimitar 1 and a Scimitar 2. Okie dokie, right. So it'll be a 3-man crew, so you'll have driver, gunner and commander. And it's got a 30mm Radin cannon on the top. Along with a chain gun, coaxial machine gun for a little bit of infantry defence in case people on foot come to get them. Now the frame on the side is purely there for RPGs and explosives. So if an RPG came in, it would hit the bar armour on the side and that would explode before it got to the hull. Because the hulls on these CVRTs are made of aluminium, which isn't the strongest metal in the world. Around the turret as well, and you'll see it's on the back door. Because RPGs, like I said, they will go through these like butter. Now they had the diesel engine fitted when the army went to a single fuel policy. There you go, you can see the bar armour on the back. Now the Scimitar 2 is probably the only one in private hands that's here. So it's a really, really nice example of what the military is actually using today. So these were used in all the Afghanistan conflicts, or to say, conflicts, we'll say. So really nice. If you want a closer look at these two, if you go to the far side of where living history is behind you, and walk, sort of get to the roadway, do a right and you'll see a big tank, which is a Challenger 1, and then those 2 bits are going to sit next to it. Have a chat with a guy called Andy Baker, he's a really nice guy, and he'll tell you all about it, because they really, really do. Right, so let's have the Land Rovers. Let's see how much kit we can lose now going over this one.
Carefully.
Oh, yours, Alex, Series 3.
It looks that way, doesn't it? It's a Series 3. It's a 109-inch wheelbase on leaf springs, so it sits a little bit lower than the later Land Rovers. It's a little bit lighter. It sounds to me as though it's got a petrol engine in it. Yeah, 2.25 petrol, and Yeah, they're a smashing thing. You can unbolt all the body panel.
Which is an awesome bit of kit. Gave it bigger wheels, put a high capacity back on them so they could fit more kit in, because basically these guys were, well, they were just lone wolves really as a team rolling around, so everything they needed they had to carry with them. So tell us something about your vehicle.
Okay, it's a Defender Land Rover high-cap pickup truck, 3.5 litre V8 petrol engine, designed specifically for off-road use, desert patrolling, higher suspension, bigger wheels. There's enough kit and equipment on here for 5 guys to last 2 weeks unsupported out in the desert. That's all the food, water that you can require, enough fuel for at least 600 miles, and enough weaponry and armament to carry out a small war of our own. We've got anti-aircraft missiles in the back, anti-tank rocket launchers on the front and sides. We've got Mark 19 grenade launcher on the back. We'll fire 40mm grenades out to 2 kilometres at a rate of 350 a minute. Each grenade has a kill radius of 5 metres, so that's quite some devastation.
Well, there you go, the good old V8 Land Rover. I do love them. I've got one myself, a V8 Land Rover. I just can't go back to a diesel. No chance. Brilliant. Thank you, guys. Right, time for something a little bit different. So, we're going to America now. So that was British. So this is now American Special Forces. Now these guys would basically use these pickup trucks, basically because there's lots of them around. So they go out and find them, or maybe borrow them without the owner's permission. They convert them to how they wanted. So if they got taken out, broken down or anything like that, they just strip all the kit off of them and put it back onto another one. Plus it was blending in a little bit more with the locals. Yeah, I know it's bristling with guns and 50 cows. But these guys would be around Iraq and Afghanistan just causing trouble basically. So they'd be searching for intel, acting on the intel that they'd had, you know, whether it's bringing people in to be questioned or anything like that. Now the interesting thing about these is the bigger the beards, the more respect you get from the locals. So in this group, anybody who hasn't got a beard is basically washing up. So, but these guys, this is how actually they would have looked. Might seem strange on a civilian pickup, but it happens. I've seen them out there, and they're really good guys, very professional soldiers. And yeah, it's, you don't want to mess with them, you really don't. You must do the washing up, you've got no beard. Yeah, he says, yeah. I have to sleep outside, yeah. But there it is, it's civilian vehicles being used as a tactical truck basically, or a technical. But there you go, brilliant. Thank you very much, guys. Awesome. Right, do we have anything else of interest? Let's see. Can you see anything else?
Another GMC pickup that has the same engine as the Hummer.
Yes, it does.
A lot less off-road capability, but probably a bit more load carrying.
Yeah, they weren't very comfortable to drive either.
No.
Mind you, the Humvees weren't, to be honest.
We've got a Humber 800 weight pickup. Let's have that one in here, because we talked about the box utility earlier on. Now, this is the same chassis as the box utility that's just going by on the road, to a large extent, because they don't carry as much as a 1500 weight, and it takes just as much resources and time to build an 800 weight, so that the Army decided to standardise on the 1500 weight. They're a splendid truck though. They've got an independent front suspension and the big 4-litre engine. They will pull a house down, and they really will. I have personal experience of doing recoveries with these on vehicles that are several times their own size. Toby, tell us a little bit about this one.
This was a Humber that was built in 1941, built as a PU, one of a fairly small number, and although we don't know the history of it, most of these vehicles either went to the desert for the Army or went to the RAF for use on airfields hauling kit and equipment around. But I've owned this vehicle for I think probably about 12-13 years now, and it really is a superb vehicle. It'll crack along the road at 50 miles an hour without too much trouble. Stopping can sometimes be a bit entertaining, but it's just got so much character, and wherever you go, people just look at it and say, I love that vehicle. But it's good to drive, it's a lovely vehicle.
Now, once you get Humber disease, you're never get away with it. You can't actually sell one. I can't bear to sell any of mine, so I've got another 10 million. Thanks, Toby.
Basically they had semi-armoured doors, which was a composite armour, quite light, but it was only two-wheel drive, believe it or not. It seems to work though, so what would happen with it is this back bit would actually fold up, and on the other side there's a set of sort of steps or ladders or ramps. They'd connect it and they'd be able to winch a pallet of supplies onto the back, close the back down, and off they go. There was quite a few built, but they never really became popular, so never really entered that service that much. Because I think they were hoping to use it for Paris for sort of scouting, a bit of a long-range group. But yeah, really nice wagon. Thank you guys.
There's a story about scorpions, and I'd love to know if it's true, but apparently there was a subaltern in one of the British cavalry regiments a few years ago who managed to get his whole troop busted for speeding on the A303 down across Salisbury Plain as they went through the speeding cameras, because they've got an E-type Jag engine and they'll do about 70 miles an hour if you back the governors off.
Actually, I've got another story about a scorpion from the Falklands.
Go on.
So, Commander pulled up for the night. I don't know how true, this was told to me by a Falklands vet, but a little bit poetic license probably. So he pulled up for the night to have some grub, maybe get a little bit of sleep. And he jumped off the hull of the Scorpion and went up to his knees in a bog, but the Scorpion was actually still sitting on top of the bog.
I can believe that, because the ground pressure they actually put down because of the width of the track and so forth is so low.
Yeah, I mean it can run over your foot, it hurt like hell, but it won't break it.
Yeah. Brain gun carriers actually, they only put a 6 psi ground pressure down. I haven't made the experiment.
Maybe we should try it with you. Who's up for that?
No, let's try it with somebody else. Who don't we like?
The list is endless. It really, really is. So, that's War in the Desert. That was actually really nice. It's a shame the one over in the far corner seems to be broken down. It looks like a dune buggy. It's called an LSV. It's a light strike vehicle designed for the Special Forces as a very, very fast attack buggy.